and we were going to a lot of different places in and around the Sedona area. And one of the places that we went to was Clarksdale, mostly to take the train ride, but we had some time. So we went into Clarksdale proper. And I had never known this existed, but there's a copper museum in Clarksdale that is to die for. It's the most amazing museum outside the Smithsonian I've been to in a long, long time. So if you ever guys want to take a trip, it's not a good photography trip necessarily.
Hang on.
Yeah, the photography part of that,
Get rid of the other device, whoever's doing that.
the photography part
That's me. Hang on.
is over in downtown Cottonwood. It's a great place to walk around and take pictures. And if you're into wine tasting, it's a good place for that too. So that Cottonwood Clarksdale matchup is really an interesting trip. And it's probably about an hour and a half away from here. Easy peasy. So good day trip. Some good photo opportunities and some good learning opportunities. I learned more than I ever knew about copper. And now I'm wearing a copper bracelet. I used to think it was voodoo, but it actually helps my arthritis. So yeah, really, I used to say, oh, that's just, you know, hokum. But I wore it for one day and the arthritis in my knee is gone. Gone. Yeah. So I was pretty surprised about that.
Put it around your knee.
I wouldn't wear anything.
Walt, is there a stick sticking up or something in front of the?
You know, they sell these copper infused things you can wrap around.
This works just fine. Yeah.
Where did you get it, Charlene? I ordered one online and it didn't help me.
I got it at the Verde Valley train station. They had several that were on offer. This one's a little small one and it has like it's copper with an inlay of stainless steel. So it's really pretty simple. I wear it all the time and it looks good with everything. Whereas some of the ones that I saw were a little too rustic for the kind of clothes that I wear, but
I'll have to order from there for the real thing. What I got online wasn't, obviously.
yeah, this is the real deal. It's real copper.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh, the museum was incredible. I've never seen so much copper. And one of the things that I really, really liked was they had a whole exhibit of World War I artillery shells that the soldiers had taken, filled with melted lead shot, and then hammered all these beautiful, beautiful designs in them.
Wow.
And it was, and then they brought them home. I mean, some of them were like angels and flowers and all kinds of scenes and birds, and some of them were the names of places. It was pretty impressive.
Okay, say again the name of the town of the museum is it?
Clarksdale.
Clarksdale.
Clarksdale and Cottonwood are, you know, twins. They're side by side. And I mean, you go like 5 miles from Cottonwood is Clarksdale. And and yes, it's 89A, and you can just take 89A into Sedona, and it's 15 miles away from Sedona. And you know,
Is it high altitude?
everything's high altitude up there. Everything is.
You keep going up the hill and you're at Jerome, which is an interesting community.
Yeah, Jerome is up on the hill and you can see it from
Yeah.
Clarksdale and Cottonwood.
I think that's where I went to, we went to a store that had all this copper. Did you stop at that Colonial
I
Highway?
didn't go to Jerome. I'm not, yeah, no. I just
But they
those-
said none of that stuff is made there anymore. It was just all made someplace else.
Well, in the Clarksdale Museum, there were several things worth seeing, and probably the one that was the most worth seeing was the artillery shells.
Dave, can you do me a favor and go see what's, can you do me a favor and go see if Walt's ready?
Pretty cool that they took all these instruments.
Other than that, we can get started.
Gorgeous.
That's kind of a version of the scrimshaw.
Yes, it is kind of a version of the
It's a much
scrimshaw.
finer scrimshaw.
Yeah, except in metal.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, well, look at that, 'cause it's finer.
You ready?
ready.
Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Morning, boys and girls, and welcome to the Leisure World Photography Club. October 23rd, 2021. Okay. No, it doesn't seem like I have control. There we go. Hopefully everybody signed in. The sign-up sheets, they're on the front table. And then please silence your cameras. And then are there any guests today? We already have some. Could you please introduce yourselves?
I'm Wolfgang Leitner and my wife Jeanette. We just moved to Leisure World about 4.5 months ago. We moved here from New Hampshire. And we love photography.
Great. You're in the right place.
What's that?
You're in the right place.
Good.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. Thank you. All right. Just a quick remembrance of Don. Don, he was such a good friend to the camera club. And I always teased him as being the Robin Leach of the photography club because he always sought out lifestyles of the rich and famous for us to enjoy on our photo sticks. And quite by accident, I happened to be researching some other project and I ran across this article for the Leisure World News that Don wrote back in the days when we were just a SIG. So I thought you'd find it. But anyway, just I know he's a great guy that's sorely missed. I just wanted to remember him today. I think she's back east right or back east right now. But whether she's coming back, I don't know. This is our crew and the people that make things happen in the background. We have our own website. We have our own email group. We have a presence on Flickr. We have a presence on Facebook. And the lockbox at 2312, this is your one stop, one drop. You can use it to put your dues in, to put your drop off your monthly challenge photos and your fall art show registration forms. For the benefit of those that are not in photography, that don't know about the lockbox, I went ahead and put out the famous pink basket anyway, because that'll be more of a familiar sight to the ceramics and the arts and so forth. So don't be surprised, get to my porch and you'll see both. These are the dates that you need to be concerned about. The next board meeting, the hanging party, of course, on the 19th. And then the fall art show, there's no meeting. Oddly enough, there's only a couple of meetings in November. It just worked out that way because we're dark for the art show and then we're dark for Thanksgiving and that's it. That's it for November. Then we have the board meeting in December and Christmas, of course, there's no meeting. The annual holiday party we'll have on January 8th in the King Card Room. I don't think that's what they call it anymore, but you know what I mean. Board meetings, a scavenger hunt will be on January 15th. Go ahead and start rounding up your photos now. In fact, the upload link's already there if you want to start uploading. The Leisure World Foundation exhibit is on January 26th. The theme is going to be Western towns and so forth, so we can tie in easily with that. And I'll have more details when it gets closer. And then the Spring Art Show and so forth. Anyway, that's the highlights to the days ahead. There's our meetings at a glance. Today, the monthly challenge for October was yards, and black and white is the challenge for month of November. And what I did was combine those two. You can make them all due on November 30th. Is fine. Today's challenge is cacti, but we're also going to honor small and also my vacation because of the canceled meeting last week. In the purple are the activities. I heard that we wanted to try some other things. I heard that the videos were not relating to everyone, and I went out and called several other clubs and asked them what their meeting formats were and so forth. And I contacted quite a few clubs, and then I had some ideas on my own. But these are some of the things that I want to try. Some of them will work, and some of them will be flops, but we'll go through it together and maybe we'll learn something. Next week, there'll be no challenge because we'll have a guest speaker. He'll be coming in from Texas on Zoom. Based on the fact that we've got street photography as our topic in the theme contest in February, I thought, what better opportunity than this guy. I met this guy on my photography forum. And he posts a street photograph daily. And he's really, really quite good. And I think that you'll all benefit from his talk. And then on the November 16th, we'll have what's called Color Me Purple. That's strictly a fun presentation. Everybody should dye their hair purple, or at least wear purple shorts. And we'll have fun with that. Food court. I'll go over these formats when I show you the movie about format. So let's hold off on that. Anyway, that's the meetings at a glance. The monthly challenge we discussed, yards for October, black and white for November. You can throw those together and get them all in the lockbox on my front porch by November 30th. But if you have them sooner, please do, because we're running low on photographs for the board. Okay. I think everybody here knows how to do the monthly challenge. For the benefit of our guests, I'll tell you that based on the monthly challenge, you're free to enter 1 to 3 photos, no more than 3. 8 by 10 is a good format. And you can drop those in the lockbox, put your name on the back, because you get a gold star for each photo you submit. It's important. And then you drop those in the lockbox, and then those get posted on this board. And people, our residents, vote on them. And then at the end, we don't return them anymore. They're donated to the Banner Baywood Sunshine people, and they go to benefit patients who are ill and the nursing staff and so
Bob,
forth.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if they're going to be donated, should they also be signed on the front so people know who the photographer is, or would you rather not?
I have no problem with it, but the problem is that first they're going to be up on the display board.
Oh, that's right, and everybody would know. Okay, yeah,
I like the way you think, but just a picadillo there.
okay.
All right. And then what you get, you get your picture up in lights for a month, and you get a chance to win the competition and get bragging rights. You get recognized on the post, and then you get a gold star just for participating. And here's your gold star, your name here, yards, and you get 1 star for each photo. Anyway, it's a fun thing we do, and it helps our resident by providing nice photos, and it helps the hospital in their sunshine efforts. Okay, these are the weekly challenges. I won't speak about them anymore. I think we've covered those.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So for the lockbox, what are we putting in there? An actual print or a
Yeah.
thumb drive or?
Yeah, for the monthly challenge, I want prints only, because those are going to go directly into a folder and get handed to the showcase ninja, and she takes them directly and then puts them up. The weekly challenge, if you like, in fact, I should put those thumb drives back out. If you want to participate in the weekly challenge and you don't have a thumb drive, we have thumb drives available that you can borrow. In fact, I'll hang them on the side of the lockbox. So you can pick up a couple of thumb drives, one for this week and one for next week. And then you go home, get your photos on it, and then bring it back and drop it in. You lift the flap and you drop it in the lockbox. But we have a way to submit them by a file request to upload them. And that's taken over in popularity. It's so much simpler, and when we're driving back, when we first tried Dropbox, I thought that everybody would have to have an account. I was going to people's homes to coach them how to use Dropbox, and everybody had to set up an account, and then they get too many photos in the folder. You got to send it out. Anyway, this new system, I just send out a request for the files. You latch onto that, your photos go up, they're in my Dropbox folder. I have them. It's wonderful. Okay.
Sounds like the way to go.
And should
Yes.
point out that the bulletin board he's talking about is on the outside wall here, facing the hallway.
Okay.
See what,
Oh, yeah,
see what
good point.
it looks like in real life.
Where does the forms go? Over there. For the purpose of the blind critique, you know what? I'm not going to talk anymore until I show you that video about the. I'm going to show you this video before we do anything else. Okay. Thanks for checking. Okay, very good. So anyway, for the purpose of the blind critique, I came up with a form, and we probably won't need to use it today, but just so you have it. Oh, yeah, great. Walt's going to pass out a copy of it to you. What this is suppose we had quite a few submissions for today, and you can keep these, by the way. Suppose you had quite a few submissions today, and we wanted to just, if you were going to grade a photo, the PPA has like 12 points that are going to a great deal of depth about critiquing a photo. But I wanted something quick and easy and dirty that we could use just for the purpose of our own evaluation. The first three I consider subjective. You got subject, you got to have an interesting subject, a decent background, and good light. Those are just the basics of a photograph. The other three, composition, technical, and artistic, would be simply subjective things that, in your opinion, this really did well on that. So that was the purpose of this. And then maybe you'd come up with a total of 4 on photo 1, maybe a total of 3 on photo 2, and so forth. And like I say, we don't know whose photo it is, and we just want to give them some sort of feel about how they did on the photo. Plus, don't forget, we're going to discuss it in as a group too. Yes.
So you score each of those on a scale of what, from what to what?
Just one check, just add up the check marks.
Oh,
So there's total of 6 check marks possible.
A check at the footer or a not check at the bottom.
Yeah. See the little box there? The thought was you put a check mark in the boxes that you thought were good. For example, you got a great portrait of somebody, but there's a garbage truck behind them. So you wouldn't be able to check them for background, that type of thing. But anyway, it just gives you an idea of what we could do. But don't forget, we're also going to discuss it. The person that submitted the photo will get the feedback from it. So, so today's agenda is the welcome we did, the overview we did, the new meeting format we did. Let's go ahead and do the I wonder if we should, let's go ahead and do the weekly challenge next, and then we'll do the blind critique. And I think we'll have time, we'll be able to do the first National Geographic lesson also. So this will be like a combination meeting. Let's see here. Oh, that's fast done. Is this looking at the, let's see, where's the classroom? Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties here. Okay, now how do I get to share screen? I have trouble. Let's see. Here it is. I see it. Can't find my mouse. Oh, please don't do that. Is my mouse, my battery dead? I can't get to the share screen from here.
Click on, get back into Zoom.
Maybe it's in here. There it is, right?
Yep.
Oh, I just did up the tray. Okay, and then this is the one I want here. And share. Still not working. It says stop share, so obviously it's sharing, but it's not up there.
Yeah. It's going out to the outside audience, but not to the local.
Okay, I can live with that.
Well, we don't get to see it here in the room.
Oh, that's not good. Huh.
How are you adjusting to the Zoom?
Love it. We lived here 2000 to 2010 and we stopped. So when we were gonna retire, we wanted to come back.
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
This is snow?
No.
Why am I stuck?
If I wanted to go to the snow, I can. I just don't want it to go get.
You can see it from here. You can look up at the superstition and you can see the snow.
That's right. That's how I want to enjoy snow.
Me too.
I think I miss it.
Yeah, well, but you can always go.
On your computer side, you have it. Are you telling it to throw it to the projector, or?
I haven't had to do that yet.
So who else moved here from a cold place? Everybody? You did, I did, you did. Where did you move from?
Well, originally from Houston, but I've been out here since 1976, so it's always been hot.
Yeah. But now you don't have the humidity.
Oh, there's a screen
That's true,
two
my
involved.
glasses would fog up when
I think
came
the
out of
screen
bed.
two is involved.
Yeah.
I think that's what's
Yeah.
going on. How do I close that? See, there's no X to close it.
No, there aren't any trips on here. I don't think there are any trips on.
I think
Clicking
this
on
is
screen one,
still-
do it.
I like that one where you just put it.
It's weird. I was surprised at how cool it was, you know?
I can't get rid of that. Oh, that video. Here's what's wrong. I
Well,
know
what's
what's
high
wrong.
altitude? You mean above 1,000 feet or what?
Well, more like 4,000.
No, that's not it. Okay. That was a good
Well, yeah,
guess,
you're
though.
okay in Sedona and.
At Sedona, I'm okay. But
Yeah.
you go out to Sedona, it's like higher everywhere.
What happens when you get into high?
Get more than one copy open.
Yeah.
Here we
I
go.
just wanna sit there waiting
This
for
is
it
one
to
of
go
his.
up.
How do I get my test bar back?
Well, this is a little better than that one. We were up, not too far from place there for a few days before we came.
Here's what's wrong. This one's
And
got
we
to
got
close.
down and
Well, that's too bad, because that moves Arizona off the list.
I
doesn't it?
know.
That's a great place to go.
I know, I know. I mean, I can sit in the car and drive around and get out and take a picture.
Yeah.
We were off with the Rovers, that's the RV group, and it was. But even so, you know, I could do things when.
Finding steps, that's it.
Yeah, and I did a slot can, and I didn't do the slot can, and I couldn't have done it.
Well, Arizona, you can just stay in the car. You know, you just go around the car, go around the woods, snap. Go up to the before the bears get in.
No, that's what I do in a lot of places. I can step out, you know.
I'm stumped.
Walk around the mountain.
During cold, yeah.
So I've been to very few.
Have you guys had a chance to kind of put it out without, see what's here, or you still work on your house?
We're still working on the house.
Yeah, everybody, when they get here.
Here we go.
That's like the #1 project.
It didn't like PowerPoint being open at the same time. That's what it was. Are we on live?
Yeah.
Okay. then
How do I get-
all three agree.
How do I get this? That's okay.
It sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
We finally got rid of that. The garage is fully get in there, you know.
Okay, we're back in action. Welcome. Sorry. You know what? I apologized up front in my email about technical issues, so I don't feel bad at all. Jan Kelly sent in my vacation. She's not with us. She has a function to attend this morning that conflicted, but I told her I'd be happy to show her photos on her behalf. How do I get rid of this?
Yeah, I went to Scotland.
Yes. How do I page? Here we go. How do I page? Here we go. That's one of those fancy, I forgot.
It's a puffin.
That's it. Yeah, puffin. That's it. That's pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, very well.
I heard there's a place you can go though that you can almost walk up on them.
There's actually on the coast up in New Hampshire.
Is that it?
Pretty common, yeah.
Wow, they're so gorgeous. They know nobody's gonna hurt them. That's a gorgeous shot.
And that's looking at the Isle of Skye.
Any way to get rid of this? Oh yeah, here you go.
Yes. I family.
You jumped over a cow.
Hmm?
There's the cow.
There was a cow you jumped over.
Oh, let's go back.
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to miss that one.
It's a Highland coon.
No more shaggy dog stories.
They make regular cows look delicate.
Yeah, that's really something.
They smile at you when you stand on the other side of the fence. If you say hello, they smile.
I know, they're so sweet.
That one we already saw. Beautiful. This is Jan's summer home, I believe.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Where she keeps the crown she was wearing in another.
That's right. That's right. That is gorgeous.
I crawl.
All right. Thank you, Jan. Where's my up arrow? You know where I can get the up arrow, Walt? Or is this covering Oh, no, here it is. I'm sorry. There it is. Got it. Oh. Paula Moore also sent in some vacation photos.
peninsula. So this is the Dungeness bit of the lighthouse out there,
Where was this?
Washington, on the peninsula.
Well, what part of Washington, Paula?
It's south of Seattle, it's in the very far, it's where the Olympic National Forest is.
Oh,
And
okay.
the peninsula just kind of juts out there. So this is the state of Wanda, Fruitland. You actually see Canada.
Mhm.
We were there a couple of years ago.
Very pretty.
And the signs say, welcome to Serenity, pointing towards the lighthouse at the end, and in reality, pointing back towards the mainland.
That's cute.
You're just walking back, looking back at Hurricane Bridge. That's up on Hurricane Bridge.
Did you hike all the way up?
Yeah. Good girl.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah, bless you. And this is Cape Alava. The little island out there, there are otters out there. We could hear them, couldn't see them. But the beach is just covered with those big pieces of
On Zoom, I can hear everybody, but they're all talking about
Along that area, they're all like that.
Yeah,
It's hard to walk on them. You can see that.
very hard to walk on. Yeah. This is Third Beach, my friend Ian out there.
They can hear the room. They can hear the room chatting, or they're just chatting among themselves.
Can hear the chatter in the room.
It's because we're not using that central mic.
And what's a vacation without photos? So I took a photo of my friend and taking a photo of her friend Molly, taking a photo of the dog. That's in the whole rainforest.
It's cute.
Oh, I remember that.
And meet in the whole rainforest, holding up the tree. Or whatever it was.
Very cute.
It was fun stuff.
Okay, that's all we had for vacation. I went ahead and put something together for small. What this is this was a section of the toy museum in Kansas City. It's a special section that's set aside for miniatures. And I just grabbed some pictures out of that. Looked like a large room. The guy's only about 4 inches tall. Yeah, that gives you a perspective of the scale of these things.
Those are the big ones. There are much smaller ones.
Yeah.
There's some you have to look at for magnifying glass.
Here's, I guess you'd call it a dollhouse. I don't know. It looks like a real living room, doesn't it? These are like little wall inserts where they have a show a room. This is an apartment building. Anyway, I thought there was something, give us something small.
They have grains of rice where a whole Bible verse is written on the grain of rice. And you look at it through a magnifying glass to read it.
What is that, Ruth? I remember something vaguely about that.
Yeah, it's in a separate room where the really small things are. A grain of rice, this big, like a whole Bible verse written on the
Oh,
grain of
yeah,
rice.
I remember that.
And then there's a magnifying glass and you look through and you can read it.
Yeah, but
Some
who
people do it.
who painted it?
How they do it,
Incredible work and shit.
I don't know.
I'll say.
Any of that. And one of those dollhouses, there was a dollhouse. So the dollhouses are 1/12 scale, and the dollhouse in the dollhouse was a 1/44 scale. And everything was to scale.
I'll be darned. Something. Ruth, you're up.
Oh, I didn't know I put that in. I just walked it.
Well,
You told me to.
I know I didn't, I just made it up. Well, anyway, there it is. It's titled As Fuzzy as Fuzzy Does. It's a fuzzy cactus. But you wouldn't want to touch it because it looks soft, but it isn't. We were in Michigan and we went to the Belle Isle, which is a city park in Detroit. and it has a plant house. And that was, one room in the plant house was cactuses. And it was interesting to me because all the cactuses there were ones you see in the yards here. But they all came from different places and they had different scientific names. And none of them had the names that we call them here. They all had other names.
Is it soft or is it thorny or what?
It's not soft, it's spiky. It
You
just
went all the way to
looks
Michigan to look at cactuses?
soft.
Go to your backyard.
Close to Newcastle, huh?
Well, they
Yeah.
also room for other kinds of plants, but the one room was cacti.
I got you. Nice shot. Walt, you're up.
Okay. Hala, I think it's what they call a woolly bear or something, I don't know.
It's a teddy bear.
Teddy bear, yeah. And there's a whole shot of the very same cactus Ruth showed off. That's in our front yard. I sent the picture to Boyce Thompson saying, we bought this from you and I don't remember what it is. It's grown a lot since we got it. And they said, it's a pine cone cactus.
I'll be darned. And there's no thorns, huh?
Yes, there are.
Oh, I got
You
you.
don't see them, but after you
You'd find it when you
touch
touch
something, you
it.
discover you did touch something sharp.
It's just a normal succulent though, isn't it? It's it's got the barrels to hold the water. It's just
Mhm.
but it's an unusual shape.
It just keeps growing outward and then pieces fall off. And if you stick them in the ground, they grow more.
Yeah. Survivors. That's a great shot.
And a Madagascar palm.
What is that one?
Madagascar palm.
Looking down at it from the top.
And it too has grown a lot since we got it.
Very nice. Okay. Scavenger hunt, we don't have anything yet. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're going to pivot right into the one entry we have for blind critique. And I think we want to take it and just enjoy it for a moment. And if you like, we can just go around the room and let everybody say what they think about it. There's really only one photograph here. I translated it to JPG just in case there was a problem with it showing up, but it doesn't look like there is.
It's a little dark.
Should have used a larger f-stop maybe.
That should be. So,
I love the shapes. Right on either side.
Now, when we're grading this, are we giving numbers to things?
Well, this is really, yeah, this is really something that it just gives you a basic feel like I think you were out of the room when I was explaining it, but the first three are what I would call objective, like you either have it or you don't. You know, you've got a subject, an interesting subject. I'd say yes. Background is uncluttered, it's clean, and the light is outstanding. So those are the objective. And then you would, so if you thought that all three of those were good, you'd get a check mark on each and that'd be 3 check marks. And then the last 3 are more or less subjective because it's in your eye. So I think the competition or the composition is great. The rule of thirds is in use. Technically, it's correct. I don't see any technical errors. And I think it qualifies on the artistic level. But I'm going to shut up. This is not for me. This is for you. I'm going to shut up and let you let you enjoy it, and then we'll go around the room. Paula, why don't you start us off and give us your comments, and then Dave can go to you, and then and if you and just whatever say whatever you think, whatever you like, whatever you don't like.
I just love the shape, so you have the shape itself and then the knob versus the shape going up and down the wall and the ground and the cactus itself. The colors reflection. I just love it.
All right, Dave.
I don't have anything intelligent to add on this one.
All right. Okay. Nothing? Okay. Who's your wife? Your wife want to comment?
I like the light a lot. The shadowing from looks like a tree.
All right, next. That's fine. Who's in the front row up there? I can only see the back of a head. Hi, you got any comment?
Obviously it's a vertical orientation. To me, my eye is drawn a little bit too much to the wall. That was cropped in a little bit tighter, but not totally to eliminate it because it does have nice texture. A little bit more vertical. And I don't know if it's a projector or not. Does that affect the contrast on it?
The projector's not doing a real good job on it, but it's fair.
Then I'll just skip that.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Who's up in the front row? Jean? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I like the shadows, and I like the contrast of the pot with the green and the deep color. The background of the wood, I think it's a nice contrast to it. I like the angles that it comes up, it's taken for.
Charlene?
I like the contrast between the colors, the green and the purple. It's purple or a little darker, I like it more.
All right. Ruth?
If it were me, I would take down the contrast a little bit, because there's two places there where it's blown out. Now, that might be the projector. Is that the projector?
To some extent. Are you talking about the left leg, third notch down?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
on
a
the
little,
upper one there. If you took down the contrast a little bit, it would fix that. Other than that, I like it.
yeah, cool. Well,
Yeah, it looks better on Bob's screen than on the projector.
that's for sure.
Highlights are not blowing out on his screen, and
Oh,
yes.
Look over there.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, oddly enough, that's a better view. Yeah.
the purple is much more purple.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
guess that's it for me.
Yeah, that
seems to be clear.
the right-hand picture is much better than the left-hand picture.
I think I gave you my thoughts up front. I really shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done that, but I'm glad you were all able to contribute in spite of that. But anyway, the idea was that maybe you think that this photo hit a home run on 3, and you add up that you got 3 check marks. You just put a 3 there. That's all. And then on photo 2, maybe you thought all 6 were good, so you'd have a total of 6. That's all. This was just to give us a. And actually, we could actually turn these in and recap them and publish them to the group that they should all be able to see them. But anyway, we only had one contribution this time, so maybe we'll either try it another time or we'll vote it down for repeat. We'll see. I think that's. Let's see here.
Should we ask the people out there what they thought?
I don't have any way to get their feedback. Can you think of anything, Walt?
Um,
I don't mind putting it back up there.
We could put comments in chat.
What?
They could comment in chat.
She spoke up, so they should be able to speak up.
Can anyone else, does anyone else have some comments? Take off, if you'd like to comment on the photo, go ahead and take yourself off mute and speak up.
I like the choice of the object and the colors.
Oh, yeah, you can comment. Okay, good. Is that Linda?
Yes,
Very nice. Thank you, Linda. Who else would like to comment?
I like the shadows.
Excellent. More comment?
I like the contrast between the cactus and the leaves that we see in shadow.
Super. Anyone else? Yeah, thanks for thinking of that, include the Zoom people. I wasn't sure that would work. As I say, we're trying something new we haven't tried before. So thank you for that. I believe based on the time that we have time for, even have a time for a lesson today. So we'll go ahead and play that. Now, how do I do this? To do a share screen. This one, share. How did I get this?
So while Bob's getting that set up, I'd just like to remind everybody that the registration forms for the fall art show are on the other side of the wall in the art studio, printed out. And also we have them on the Photo Club website. So you can download them off the Photo Club website, or you can walk around and go in there and pick up a printed copy. Registration deadline is the 8th of November at 12 noon at Bob's house. And we're keeping the same fees as we did last year. It's $10 for 6 items in a single category. The 3 major categories are photography, painting and drawing, and then 3-dimensional art. We also will have the art mart if you'd like to sell your stuff in the art show. You have to be an exhibitor in the art show to sell in the art mart. So you can enter all 3 if you're like the Leonardo da Vinci of our age, you can enter all 3 categories. And it's $10 for each one of those categories. So $10 for photography, $10 for painting, drawing, $10 for 3-dimensional. Or you can just enter 1, but you can enter up to 6 pieces in each one of those major categories. Okay. Again, registration deadline is the 8th of November at 12 o'clock. No exceptions. 12 o'clock. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shirley. Appreciate it.
Whether you travel the world or just spend time in your backyard, chances are there are landscapes or wildlife, or both, that add beauty to your life and connect you to nature. In this course, National Geographic photographers Michael Melford and Tim Lehman share tips and techniques they have acquired from years of photographing nature in the field.
I'm Michael Melford, and I've been a photographer for National Geographic for 30 years. I'll take you with me to gorgeous places. We photograph landscapes, skyscapes, and waterscapes to stay aware of the beauty of the natural world around us. You'll learn to master the basics: shutter speed, aperture, ISO. You get to know them by experimenting. The gear is simple, even as simple as that phone in your pocket. The secret is to know the gear well enough to forget about it as you focus on the beauty of the moment.
I'm Tim Lehman, and I've been a wildlife photographer for National Geographic for 20 years. I'll take you along on a variety of projects and expeditions, from the top of the rainforest canopy to the depths of the coral reefs. Using a case study approach, we'll see how I've learned to cope with all sorts of conditions: snow, rain, mud, to capture award-winning images for National Geographic. In the process, I'll cover the practical, technical, and artistic aspects that have to come together for successful wildlife photography.
Whatever your level of experience or interest in photography, and whatever equipment you use, Michael Melford and Tim Lehman will show you how satisfying and enjoyable it is to capture a bit of this beautiful world in a photo of your own.
No, you don't have the wrong course here. These lessons aren't about fly fishing. They're about landscape photography. I'm Michael Melford, and I'm here to help you get to the next level of your landscape photography. I like to fly fish, and landscape photography is very similar to fly fishing. You go out to beautiful places in pursuit of the elusive, and if you are in the right place at the right time, and you don't mess up, you come home with a nice fish. You are rewarded. But really, it is the journey. And that's the reward, the experience of being out in nature and having all other thoughts and worries of your life left behind. As landscape photographers, we are on this quest for the perfect image, and it usually happens when the light is magical. When we get it. It is so special, but it is a learning process just like fly fishing. Now, we don't always get the big fish or the perfect photograph, but what is important is to enjoy yourself as you progress. I'm here to help you, to teach you what to look for, what the process is of being a landscape photographer. We will go on this journey together, but first you should know, as a landscape photographer, you must know your craft, your instrument. A violin doesn't make its own music. First, you have to learn the notes, the scales. You have to practice, 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 develop an ear, have the instrument become an extension of you, just like the camera. You have to practice, practice, practice. And it doesn't matter how many violins or cameras you have. If they're not an extension of you, you will not make music. To me, there are three kinds of photographers. There is the photographer who knows the craft. They know everything about it. They can count pixels. They know what chromatic aberration is. I'm not sure I do, but they're really good technically. And then there is that person who comes and says, well, I don't know any of this stuff. I put the camera on the little green square and I go out and shoot. Okay, that's good. They can see, maybe. The third kind of photographer, and this is what I want you to be, is the one who understands the craft, can control the camera, but can also see. Okay? And we're going to practice more the art of seeing than we are the craft. However, on the technical side, this is what you need to know, and you need to know it cold. So you don't have to think about it. Copy this down, study it until it becomes part of you. But if you're not technically minded, no worries. We will be dealing with the art of seeing rather than the craft of photography, more so in this course. You can put the camera on the little green auto button if you like, but the more you know your instrument, the better off you are. Now, I got my first camera when I was 19 years old. I was in Europe and I went with a friend of my father's who was an art director, went out, he came with me, I bought a camera, and afterwards he said to me, now you have an instrument that will help you to express your feelings. I never thought about that. I wasn't even sure I had feelings. I just wanted it to record my summer hitchhiking around Europe. So I went out, first time I had the camera, it was raining. I went out and made a shot. Well, somehow it wasn't really capturing my feelings at all. You know, if you go out and you take a picture and you come back and it's not really the way you saw it, that's what I'm here for. So I hope to take you from the disappointment of not getting what you saw or what you felt to translating it into the next level. So, why do we love landscape photography? Well, for myself, I like to get up in the middle of the night. I like to hike a mountain in the dark, to be on top for when the magic happens, and to capture it, and to be up there and watch it. It's so much fun. Sometimes I come home with something and sometimes I don't. To experience nature, the raw nature out there with wind and rain, you know, it's just a matter of dressing for the weather. What do they say? There's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing. I subscribe to that. Doesn't matter how cold it is, I can dress for it. So what is landscape? What is a landscape photograph? Well, it's out in nature. You know, it can have a horizon line, usually a foreground, middle ground, background. But what we are after here is more about emotion than a formula for a landscape. We want to capture the feeling that you had when you were seeing something that took your breath away. And there's no need for a horizon line. We just want to capture what we saw, the emotion, the feeling. That's what I really hope that we get out, you get out of this course. The process of photographing landscapes can be a slow, thoughtful process. To me, it is a form of meditation. All thoughts leave me, other than what is in front of me. God is in the details. I'm not thinking about other stuff. I'm just thinking about what's there. Landscape photography is a vehicle to get us out into nature. How cool is that? And digital makes it much easier, as it is more forgiving than film ever was. With film, my exposures had to be a quarter of a stop. I had to know that craft so well. But now with digital, we can see right away if we're messing up. And it's more forgiving on the exposures. That's why so many people are into it, okay? And I'm really into just seeing with this a lot. I love this camera. But it can also be more difficult to express ourselves, as the camera, the digital camera, is all so perfect and takes control of us. It can almost be too sterile and too perfect. We have to take some control from the camera. Now, I'm a purist. I don't mess with anything. I like to see what I have. I like to put good stuff in front of me in the right light, and I'm not taking telephone wires out of pictures. At National Geographic, we don't manipulate anything because then you wouldn't believe the images that you saw. And I believe in that. However, it doesn't mean that you have to believe in that too. Now, if you think about a landscape architect, what is a landscape architect? It's someone who takes the land and changes it to make it better. Basically, they're manipulating the landscape. So in the same vein, you go landscape architect, you could say landscape photographer. You can manipulate things and change them to make them better. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. For myself, I don't do it, but it's just an option for you, depending on what level of technique you want to get into it, how much time you want to spend in front of the computer. I want to spend as little as possible. I want to be outside shooting it. Okay? I like to reproduce it as I see it. As I see it, not necessarily as the camera captures it. But this is what film always did for me. Or you can manipulate it. Go right ahead. I won't do it, but I bless you for doing it. Now, I will give you ideas on where to go to shoot. That's part of the course. Yosemite Valley, you have to go there. Death Valley, we will go together to Death Valley in one of our lessons. And I'll show you how to keep it simple and come home and having a great time and an image you are proud of. Having a great time, that's the key. Coming home with an image you're proud of, that's the bonus. I'll share with you how important it is to go out at different times of day. Okay, you see it like this, it looks pretty cool. You found a location, why not return there in the afternoon at sunset and get a little bit magic happening there? Or you've seen a nice shot and you've captured it and it looks great, and then you return to that area a few years later. This is Glacier National Park. We'll go there together too. And then I went back there a few years later. I want to go back to the same spot and take the same picture. Well, the boats had all changed. It's pretty cool. It's the journey. So like fly fishing, it's not the big fish that you catch. It's really the experience of being out there. Now, I will also introduce you to a new perspective, a new way of seeing landscape from above. And it's really simple. So at this point, what I'd like to do is to show you some people who have influenced me along the way. Early on that year that I bought my camera, age 19, I was in Europe. I ended up in London and I discovered Monet. It was really the first experience I had with art. And it really turned me on. The colors that he used, you know, his brush strokes, how he saw the light, the composition. And I sat in front of a triptych of water lilies of Monet in London. And it was like a religious experience to me. I just, I had goosebumps. I didn't cry, but I certainly could have. And then from there, in my hitchhiking around Europe, I went up to Amsterdam and I sat in front of Van Gogh's. I went to the Van Gogh Museum. I was the only one there. It was empty. The room, I would sit in a room full of Van Goghs and look at them for hours. It was just amazing. Now, he had a vision. He had his own vision. You look at this painting, you don't wonder who painted this. You know right away. And he had a color palette, too. He had a few different color palettes that he liked to use, but this blue-green combination he liked a lot. And yellow-brown he used a lot, too. Now, in photography, Ansel Adams, the first person who really influenced me in photography and probably to this day influences me. He photographed the American West, and there are so many quotes that come from him. And here are a few I'll share with you. A great photo is one that fully expresses what one feels about what is being photographed. A good photograph is knowing where to stand. Now, how true is that? You stand here, it's not quite happening. You move over here, and you end up with a good shot. And I'll show you some examples of that as well. Sometimes I get to places when God's ready to have somebody click the shutter. Has that ever happened to you? I know it's happened to me. You get somewhere, the light is just perfect, and you've got about a minute to shoot it, if that. That's a nice quote. I like that one too. And another one. Landscape photography is the supreme test of the photographer, and often the supreme disappointment. I can attest to that for sure. Now, the next man who influenced me, Ernst Haas, he didn't have a camera till he was 28 years old. Isn't that amazing? He came from a repressed country of Czechoslovakia, came over to the United States. He was the first man who shot color with a 35 millimeter camera. You know, Ansel shot big, he shot black and white. Elliot Porter shot big, he shot color. But Ernst Haas, he shot small, which made him much more flexible, which is what's nice about the digital camera too. And here's a couple of quotes from Ernst Haas. You become things. You become an atmosphere. And if you become it, which means you incorporate it within you, you can also give it back. It gives me goosebumps. His images give me goosebumps. He's so incredible. You can put this feeling into a picture. A painter can do it, and a musician can do it. And I think a photographer can do that too. And that I would call dreaming with open eyes. Dreaming with open eyes. It's pretty nice to walk around in nature and dream with open eyes. Now, another man that influenced me as I was graduating college was David Munch. He's still alive. He does workshops. He has a son, Mark, and the two of them do workshops together. I hope to take one. I'm sure I still have a lot to learn from him. And he was out there with the big camera, with the 8x10, up in the Sierras, shooting color, selling them or giving them to the Sierra Club. And I wanted to be this guy. I would get out with my 8x10 or my 4x5. Of course, growing up on the East Coast, I didn't have scenery like this. But I studied his work. He understood light, composition. He understood the craft. And then when I came to New York to be a photographer and I started looking at more magazines and who else was out there, I found this gentleman, Sam Abel. And he was a National Geographic photographer. Now, isn't it everybody's dream to be a National Geographic photographer? Well, if an issue came out of the Geographic, I could look through it, and when Sam had an article, I knew that it was Sam's, and I would study it. Sam grew up in Ohio, and in Ohio, there are not a lot of mountains there, but there's a lot of horizon line. So the horizon line is pretty important to Sam, and he talks about that, and he uses it a lot. There it is, right in the middle of the photograph. Same thing there, but he's done something a little more interesting with it. Now, Sam's not just about the horizon line. He saw stuff that I never saw. I didn't see stuff like this. I was learning from Sam how to see. And I encourage you also to look at other artwork to help you to see composition. I mean, how cool is that? Look at that perfect composition. So that was very helpful. And yes, I wanted to be these guys. So there I am at a younger age. I have the view camera. And the nice thing about the view camera in the old days with film, you shot 2 sheets of film. Put it in the film holder, you shoot one side, you pull it out, you turn around, you shoot the other side. You develop one sheet, you look at how the exposure is. If you need to adjust it, you would do it in development. It It was a very slow, methodical, and thoughtful process, which was great. Often chasing the light. Well, we still are chasing the light, aren't we? And you end up with a really high quality image. I went out with that view camera. It doesn't matter about the weather. You just got to get the right clothing, get some umbrellas. Some of the best pictures happen in the worst weather. And there's the shot from that. So let's talk about what we'll cover in these lessons on landscape photography. We'll talk a lot about composition and light. Light being pretty important. We'll do a lesson on color in landscapes, the use of color. And this is really interesting. There'll be a lot of fun. I'm a color photographer, and I love landscapes, and there's a lot of different color in landscapes. And we'll do a lesson on research, how important it is to research before you go. Sure, you can go and just wander around and look for pictures, but to save time, if you research it, you know where to go. Boom, you're there for the best light, for what's happening, where the best picture is at the right time. We'll talk about the importance of sky and weather and how to anticipate what's happening in the sky, what's happening with the clouds, what's happening with the sun. And since it's a landscape lesson, why not talk about water and call it waterscape, right? We all have water near us. Most of the earth is made of water. So we'll do a little lesson on water and different tricks to play with water. Then we're going to push the envelope a little bit. We're going to try some things that you wouldn't normally think of. You're going to experiment. You're going to sketch with the camera. And this is the lesson that I will talk a bit about the craft, the technical side. So you can either really pay attention to this or just kind of push it aside. But really what you want to do for yourself is you want to concentrate on your weakest skill. If it's scene, you want to really pay attention more to the lessons on scene. And if your weakest skill is the technical side, well then you can watch it a couple of times. Now we'll do a lesson on what's in my bag. I'll bring my bag out. I like to keep things very simple, very simple. All of my pictures are taken with what's in a backpack that goes on my back. And so I will teach you how to very simply change your image from this to this just by turning a filter, a polarizing filter. Have you ever gone out and been in the situation where you have no control at all? You're traveling with family or you're on a group tour. How do we go from here, where we have absolutely no control with the group, and come home with a big fish, right? So I will take you with me as I go on this tour where I'm with a group and try and show you and help you to anticipate and to deal with the fact that you got no control. Because usually you want to stop, you want to look at the light, you want to wait for the light, you want to be able to go here or go here and not be in a rush. But on these group tours, we don't have that luxury. Now we'll also do a lesson on editing. Taking the picture is really just the first step. Half of the shot, half of getting the shot is, what do we call it now? Capturing a file. So we'll do a session on editing, on how to find the image that stands out from all the rest. I think it's that one. What do you think? No. So I'll take you through it. I'll show you. We'll start with an assignment that I did where I shot 10,000 images. But don't worry, you won't have to look at all 10,000. And we'll narrow it down to 2 or 3. And that's how it is at the Geographic. We'll go out and shoot 10,000 images in a month or more. I probably shoot less than everyone else. And we come home and we narrow 10,000 down to 40, but we only publish maybe 10. So, and then we're going to do a session on development. So editing, development, we're going to use the same software. I'm going to do a live session, 2 live sessions, where I'm actually sitting at the laptop. I can show you everything that I do. Again, I like to keep things simple. I don't like sitting in front of the computer. I'd rather be outside. So there's not a lot of manipulation. I just want to make the picture look like how it looked when I took the picture. In the old days, we shot film. You went out, you shot, you came home, you sent the film off, and 2 weeks later, you got the film back and you held it up to the light. There was no manipulating it after that, and there was no instant gratification. So it made me, a pretty good craftsman, but in digital photography, I like my digital images to look the way that film would look. Well, when they come back, especially when you're shooting raw, they'll come back looking like this. Well, that's not how it looked when I shot it. It looked like this when I shot it. And so you now have the controls with digital to manipulate it or massage it, I like to say, to tweak it, massage it, to make it look not how the raw file captured it, because it makes it flat, just inherently part of the technology, and I have to massage it to make it look the way it was when I saw it. Now, every good photograph consists of 3 elements: composition, light, content, or moment. A friend of mine says, find the light and shoot what's in it. I stood here and waited for several hours for the light to get right. Of course, I'm shooting all the time. I'm looking at this lens, I'm trying that lens, I'm looking over here, I'm looking over my shoulder for the bears too, because it's Glacier National Park, and I always carry pepper spray with me when I'm in bear country. Now, there are 3 tools that will get us to where we want to go. It's that holy triangle, I like to call it: shutter speed, aperture, ISO, right? We're back to that triangle. So everything that we do, unless we're with our phones or have it on the little green square, we're thinking about aperture and shutter and ISO. That's the technical stuff, and we'll play with that as well. And when you are finished with these lessons, go back and watch a second time. And it should all blend together, because each lesson will be teaching material from the other lessons as well. And you will see how easy it is. And if you are patient and you persevere, you will find that it is very much like fly fishing. You go out, you be with nature, you enjoy yourself, and occasionally you capture a big fish. Yes, I do let almost all the fish I catch go. This beautiful tarpon swam off after we took this picture. After all, the point is to enjoy the journey. Let's begin. Thank you.
This looks like an excellent course, much better than the one we had last year.
Good, I'm glad. Charlene recommended this series. Thank you, Charlene. Okay. Is the gang still here? A few are still here. All right. That's all I had for you today, boys and girls. I hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, everybody.